Hey, you guys. You know what it is. It's your boy Josh Vision. I'm here to bring to you my Vikings Season 4B, Episode 12 review. And the episode was entitled The Vision. So, for this review, I'm pretty much just going to tackle, everything storyline by storyline. So, I'm going to begin the storyline when it comes, when it, when it starts with Ragnar's storyline. So, in the beginning of the episode, we have Ragnar pretty much sitting in a chair in the middle of the town. He's looking around. It seemed like he's very impressed with everything that's and a little bit astonished for everything that's happened since he's been gone for the past 8 to 10 years. And he notices these two fellows, and he says to them, "How you guys doing, my friends? Guess what? I'm gonna let you in a little secret. I'm going back to England, and I need some strong men like yourselves to help me avenge the lost settlement over in Wessex." So you have one of the guys, the younger of the two. He says pretty much that his brother and his sister, or his brother and his wife, was actually a part where the people that actually went to the settlement, and he pretty much spits in Ragnar's face. And let's be honest here, if especially Ragnar from season 1 and 2, if you spit in Ragnar's face, you would have been dead, or at least with some broken limbs or something. But Ragnar, I believe the guy says after that you know what? I don't believe the gods are with you anymore. Everyone hates you. So go on, King Ragnar Lothbrok, in a mocking tone. And Ragnar turns his head, and you see him with that trademark angry facial expression. But he's like, you know what? Thank you for your time. And he just leaves off. The next thing that happens along with Ragnar is that Ragnar has a conversation with Bien, and they're talking about the Mediterranean Sea and which is the best way to try to, or any possible ways of them trying to, of Bjorn and his men avoiding coming in contact with Francia, aka Rollo and company, Princess Gisla, and I believe Ragnar says that pretty much the only way to get to Mediterranean would be to pass Frankish coast. So Bjorn's like, that's correct. I'm prepared to negotiate with Uncle Rollo. Well, Rollo. And Ragnar looks at him. He's like, really? You're gonna try and negotiate with him for what he's done? And Bjorn's like, listen, I have to be practical. This is our way. Pretty much talking about how Ragnar used to be very practical when it came to things like this as well, even if he didn't like the particular individual. One character that comes to mind is King Horik, for example, and to a lesser extent, Earl Harrelson from season 1. But yeah, so I believe Ragnar, he's about to leave, and Bjorn says to Ragnar, you know what, I wish you was coming along with me. And Ragnar's like, no, you don't. He says, you're your own man now, and now it's time for you to have your own failures and successes. And with that, that caused Beard a little bit of a chuckle, you know. And for some reason, I think this is literally going to be the last time Bjorn and Ragnar sees each other. It seems kind of finalish, if you ask me. But Ragnar asks Bjorn a question. Bjorn's like, what is it? And Ragnar's like, I need ships. Can you give me some ships? And Bjorn's like, of course. And Ragnar's like, well, that was easy. And that was pretty much their scene, in my opinion, probably their final scene together. So after that, I believe we have Ragnar with Ivar. And Ivar is pretty much standing down on the rock with her while Ragnar is digging. You're wondering what the fuck is he digging for? The same thing Ivar asked. He was like, what are you digging that hole for? And Ragnar's like, listen, I'm going to have to bribe people to come with me to Wessex. And Ivar laughs. I was like, you're a loser. And then Ragnar responds in kind by throwing some dirt in Ivar's face/mouth. And he's like, come over here, cripple boy. And Ivar comes and he helps lift this box of what you would assume to be like mad decorative shit, coins and crap. And Ivar opens it, and Ivar's like, damn. He's amazed. But he also says, but isn't this supposed to be like for you, like you're not supposed to spend all this. Like just breaking stuff. This is for like after death or something like that. And Ragnar reiterates to him that once again, I had to bribe the people. This is like a last resort type of deal. So Ivar notices a coin, and he said, "Who's this guy on this coin?" And Ragnar smiles. Ragnar's like, "That's King Egbert." And Ivar's like, "Can I keep it?" And Ragnar's like, "Yes." So that's pretty much all that happened with Rag. No, no, no. There was another scene in this episode, and like the last scene, is Ragnar seeing the boats or Floki's boats and seeing them sort of like a practice run across the water or whatever. You see Ragnar on the cliff all alone, and you can see that he's very hurt. He definitely does feel like a loser at this point, and it's kind of ironic that at one point all these men, who used to come to him, used to sail with him, whatever, they kind of rejected him. And Ragnar is definitely an outsider, looking in. So I think that's all that happened in regards to No, 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 no. There's more. There's more. But I'm gonna put Ragnar on the burner for a bit, and we're gonna go straight to the whole thing with Bjorn and the return of King Harold and his brother Halfdan. So we have this big feast that's happening, and we see Bjorn, and Bjorn greets Lagertha and his mother, and he sees Astrid. It's like, Astrid. And watching this, you're saying to yourself, is Bjorn thinking the same thing Ragnar saying when he first seen him? Like, are you two really together? And Astrid's just all calm. She's like, how you doing, Bjorn? And what's interesting, when Lagertha she had a little smirk on her face as she walks off, it seemed like Bjorn is looking at Astrid. And it seemed as though Bjorn's kind of feeling Astrid. You know what I mean? But after that, we see the rival King Harold and his brother Halfdan. And through their conversation, we find out that King Harold has pretty much taken in even more and more territory. He took out a few earls and a few kings. And Bjorn's like, oh, so you're even closer to your greatest ambition now, which is to become the king of Norway, which King Harold said in season 4A. So pretty much King Harold's like, nah, lying ever so flawlessly in the charismatic way that he does. I'm afraid that I won't be able to. How could I ever take out King Ragnar? Excuse me. So, and Bjorn smiles at this, but I don't think Bjorn really buys it. And King Halfdan said, listen, we think the gods are with you now, and that's why we chose to sail with you. So Bjorn pretty much says, come meet my brothers. He pulls Ube's long ass hair to the point Ube gives him that look like, what the fuck was that for? So he introduces Ube, Vixert, Sigurd, and Ivar. And Harold was like, damn, you guys have grown so much. You guys were boys when I first saw you, but now you guys are men. And what's interesting about this after this is that Ivar says to King Harold, he's like, no, I'm tall too when I stand. And Halfdan is like, I know you wish you could have came along with us too. And you see the look on Bjorn's face, like he feels kind of like sad for Ivar and, aware of his condition, all that shit. Now Ivar responds like, go to hell. And King Harold immediately is like, I like this guy. And then we have Floki arriving, and Floki introduces, pretty much shows Harold and Halfdan Helga, saying that she survived. And Harold and Halfdan saying, we're so thankful you survived, we didn't know your fate. And that's pretty much all that happened in regards, to Bjorn and Harold and all of them. Besides the fact that this is the episode in which they go off, heading off to the Mediterranean. But that connects more a little bit to the next storyline I'm going to tackle, which involves Lagertha and Aslog. So Ivar sort of tells his mother, Aslog, that Lagertha's here. And Lagertha and Aslog have a little bit of a dialogue. Lagertha says, listen, my son Bjorn and your son Victor, they're going out to the Mediterranean, so we should make a sacrifice. No. Or we should do some type of blessing or so for them, for their safe, for them to return home safely. And that's when Aslog mentions, all right, we should do a sacrifice. And Lagertha's like, all right, yeah, the both of us should do it. And Aslog's like, listen, Lacta, you know I'm the queen. And Lacta responds coldly, yeah, that's right, you are the queen. Remember, I never forget. So with that line, that was kind of a calm but veiled threat. And Aslog took it as such. So as soon as her and Lacta departs, you have Aslog immediately go on her throne and drink her cup of wine or ale. Because she knows at this point, Lacta is plotting something. And as we know from this entire series, dating back to season 1, especially season 2, Aslog has never felt secure in her position. As not just as being Ragnar's #1 woman, because she always felt that Lacta was, but also the fact that everyone in the town seems to respect Lacta a hell of a lot more than Aslog. And not Lacta's personality, but also the fact that Lacta's a warrior, a shield maiden, and all this shit. She's a fucking legend. You know what I mean? And Aslog is essentially only known for being, you know, the fertile tree, you know, of Kattegat in a sense. So you could definitely see in that scene that she's very insecure and she's worried about what Lacta's planning. So after that, we have this whole interesting sacrifice scene where they sacrifice, I don't know what the animal was, but we have Queen Aslog dressed up like she's like a Dark Age version of Darth Maul. And we see the blood trickling into the bowl. And we see Lacta has arrived. It seems to be late because she seems a little pissed off. She seems a little bit disoriented. She's like saying, what the hell's happening? Y'all started letting me know. And we see Aslog sort of like seeing Lacta's reaction. She walks away, and we see Ube and Sigurd smiling, like this was all part of Aslog's plan and shit. So, so at this point, this is when Aslog starts like season 1, the whole sacrificial type thing, in which she has a brush, there's blood in it, and she's splattering it over Bjorn's face. It's like a line. First goes Bjorn, then his wife, then their kids. Then it goes Vixer, Ube, Sigurd. We see Ivar stick his hands, you know, in the pool of blood in the holder. He starts not only spraying on his face, but he starts to drink it. And after this, we see Lacta sort of spraying the blood on Astra's face. And then Lacta catches up with Aslog. Aslog seems like she's high as fuck. She's in a zone. You know what I mean? And Lacta tells Aslog, listen, I know you're awake. I will never forgive you for taking away my husband and my world. So this threat wasn't as veiled. This was direct. I'm coming for you. And right when Lacta left, the look on Aslog's face was priceless. Like, she was like, I am fucked. What the hell can I do? So after that, we had, like I mentioned before, with the whole Mediterranean thing, we have Bjorn and Vixer and Harold and Halfdan and Floki, you know, and Helga as well, on their way to the Mediterranean. We have a little brief scene with Lacta hugging Bjorn and all that shit, and it seemed like she's holding something back from Bjorn. And she goes away. And then we have Aslog, Ube, and Sigurd pretty much, you know, hugging and, you know, comforting like Vixer before he goes off. And before they go off, Bjorn's like, you built such a wonderful boat, Floki. Now let's take this boat to Rome. And that's where they go off. So now let's get to the Ivar storyline in this episode. So with Ivar, we have the brothers. They're at the table, and we know from last episode, Ivar wasn't able to please Margaret, and he pretty much almost killed her for not doing for his own impotency, and she kind of was able to put up something quick and was able to use the gods and pretty much give Ivar words of encouragement and to not let his disability get the best of him. And she promised she wouldn't tell anyone. Well, ain't that some shit? She lied. But I'm going to talk about more later in the storyline. So, Ivar's at the table. He's pretty much bragging about how he was so good to Margaret and shit. And Aslog mentions to Ube and Vixer and everyone, I believe, well, especially Ube and Vixer, she said y'all should be married right now y'all should have kids. You guys are royal, and it's not about loving the person you're having kids with. You should just find a woman that can breed, because that's very important. And Sigurd, at this point, is like, so love doesn't matter? And I was like, I didn't say that. And Sigurd's like, did you ever love Dad, or did you just love Harvard? And that's when Asla was getting defensive. She was clearly getting emotionally like hit with like literally rights and lefts. And like I said before, the whole thing with Ragnar Aslog was really like, it literally started from a 10 to like a negative 20 by the end of it. The whole thing with Ragnar and Lagtha, eventually sort of reestablishing their relationship, even though not on a physical level, well, except for that threesome scene in the end of season 2 with Lagtha and Aslog, but that's neither here or there. But there was obviously a reestablishment in which they could confide more in each other. It was obvious that Ragnar was losing interest in Aslog, especially after the almost drowning of Ube Fixer, his children, in which Siggy had sacrificed her life, in order for them to live and all that shit. So pretty much ever since that incident, their marriage has gone straight to the shitter. So Sigurd says that, I don't think you ever loved anyone. And I was like, well, yes, she has loved someone. Me. Defending his mother's honor and sorts. And this is when Sigurd really became an asshole and a dick, in which I think every viewer, for the most part, watching this episode, felt like choking the hell out of him or giving Ivar their leg, like Mike B mentioned in his review, to beat the shit out of Sigurd, because he was being an asshole at this point. Sigurd said pretty much to Ivar that their mother, that Aslog doesn't really love Ivar. The reason why she gets so much attention because of his disability, that he can't walk, and that the brothers sometimes wish that Aslog left him, or Ragnar left him to die and be consumed by the wolves. Now that was just fucking heartless and spiteful. So this drove Ivar, as we know, Ivar has a slight patience for bullshit. Slight tolerance for bullshit, and he tried his hardest to do some damage to Sigurd. He probably would have killed him if he had legs. And Sigurd at this point knows Ivar, obviously everyone knows Ivar can't walk. So he's all pulling the chairs in front of Ivar and say, come on, come get me. No, that Ivar can't. And Sigurd just walks away, and Ivar has to be stopped by his mother, and Ivar yells. And it was a deafening yell. And then you're just like, damn, Sigurd, you're a fucking prick. And then, like I said before about Margaret snitching, during the feast, Margaret tells Sigurd about the fact that Ivar not only is crazy and all this shit, but Ivar couldn't please her, that he's impotent. And Sigurd loved this. He loved hearing this. Because we know Sigurd has always been jealous of Ivar. And this is just another ammunition. And Sigurd tells his brothers this. And Ube's like, poor Ivar. And Sigurd's like, what do you mean, poor Ivar? Sigurd, and Sigurd was mentioning why he doesn't understand why Margaret's so afraid of Ivar, especially because he's a cripple. And Ube's like, listen, I'm afraid of him. And Sigurd's like, doesn't quite understand why. But best believe Sigurd will find out soon. You can believe that. So Ivar, as we learned from the previous episode, is going to sail with Ragnar. So he tells Aslog this, and Aslog's kind of pissed off about this. And we have this really beautiful scene with Ragnar kind of petting and messing around with Aslog's hair, saying that, you know what, I done some spiteful shit to you, I neglected you, I've hit you, I done some fucked up things, and despite all of this, you never once turned our sons against me, poisoning their minds. Even though I'm sure there are plenty of times in which you hated me. And for that, I'm thankful and grateful. Love didn't bring us together, but I truly appreciate everything that you've done for our sons and for me as well. And Aslog is crying during this scene. And when Ragnar's saying all this, so many people hate on Aslog, primarily because Aslog ruined the perfect couple, quote unquote, Ragnar and Lagda. But you realize that in a way she's much more of a tragic character. That she's not an evil person. Let's be honest. She freed Yen's first woman, and she hasn't done like really spiteful shit. You know what I mean? There's always been reasons for why she's done the shit that she's done. But Ragnar was correct when he said that she had reasons to want to, to do some bad things to Ragnar, but she didn't. And that's why we should respect her character a lot more, in my opinion. And that she's not a bad character, or she's not a bitch, whatever. It's just been due to a lot of circumstance. And after this, we have Aslak have a vision of Ivar drowning during, him and his father's like little potential raid to Wessex. But Ivar says, you know what? I don't care. He says, the only reason, mother, why you've been so loving and all stuff to me is because of my disability. And I would rather sail one day with my father as a man instead of living an entire life full of pity. And that was such a powerful scene because, you know what I mean? Because think about it, Iris really had a sucky life, whatever. Despite having everything, the love and all the shit, the catering, he can't do shit like other people, like his brothers can. And I thought it was very powerful because it's finally like Aslog, as a mother, finally letting go of her child and letting him be his own person, letting him strive his own thing, which some parents have to do. You can't always cuddle your kid all the time. You have to let them grow on their own 2 feet. No pun intended. So, we have Ivar, I believe, in a blacksmith shop, and the blacksmith say to Ivar, how are you going to pay for all this? And I believe Ivar shows him the King Egbert coin. So, pretty much close to the end of this review, Ivar has crutches, and he's making his way towards the boats. Everything's all ready. Ragnar's been there ready. And everyone's proud, looking on with pride. Well, except Sigurd, because Sigurd's a fucking prick and a bitch. But whatever. And Ivar falls. And Sigurd's laughing. And you see Ragnar give Sigurd that look. Like, dude. And Ivar keeps making his way to the boats regardless. And Ragnar at one point is like, you know what? It's taking forever. Come on, hurry. And Ivar's like, yeah, you're right. And they make their way to the boat, and they sail off. You have Ube and Aslog looking on with pride. And Sigurd, once again, jealous. So we have this whole drowning sequence in which the boats are fucked. They got turned upside down. Ragnar essentially saves Ivar for what it seems like. But we have this thing where Aslog seems like she's feeling all of the pain that Ivar and Ragnar's going through, or probably Ivar, because her wound is literally red with blood and it's like going down. It was kind of a very surreal moment, but that's where the episode ends. So yeah, thank you guys for watching my video. Like the video if you can. Subscribe to my channel. Write a comment down below. And once again, this is your boy Josh Vision, and have an awesome day.